All In Sports Network. We love sports.
Hey everybody, Ben Peck here on All In Aggies. Just wanted to hop on real quick to do a little something on an exciting prospect, as you see in the title, Terry Bussey, and how he's growing within the Texas A&M offense. Before we go any further, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think of Terry Bussey, what he could be capable of the second half of the season in the comments below. And subscribe and help us build this channel to make it the best thing that we can. All right, so just quick bullet point. Obviously, Terry Bussey, the best game that he's had at Texas A&M against Mizzou, had 2 downfield passes pretty far down the field. He, I believe, was the leading receiver as well for Texas A&M. And I think the most exciting thing for me was, earlier we saw he had the jet sweep touchdown earlier in the year. I want to say that was against McNeese State, but we have seen those type of things, punt returns, easy things to get him the ball in space, see what he can do. But we haven't really seen him running routes, not only just down the field, but just like lower percentage routes, let's just say, in terms of if we're drawing up a play for Terry Bussey, get him out the ball. We had the honor and privilege of talking with offensive coordinator Colin Klein during the bye week. That's something that is new to Mike Elko. Usually, if you're not familiar, we talk to the coordinators at the beginning of the year under Jimbo Fisher, and we wouldn't see him again until like the practice field. We wouldn't talk to him again until the beginning of the next season. So there were a lot of things, especially in a situation like this, where like for Jimbo, it would be, I'll give him credit. I think he was decently plugged in, CEO type in terms of offense, defense. But for example, back when I covered Cliff Kingsbury at Texas A&M, at Texas Tech, we did have coordinators available to talk to Cliff Kingsbury. But if we would have just been relying on Cliff to give us like, hey, you're scoring 53 points on offense, that's great, but you're allowing 72 on defense, what's going on there? He wouldn't know. He's not plugged. He's not like, there are some coaches who are totally devoid of that part of the game plan. They just put it on that defensive staff and it's out of their hands. Now, again, under Cliff, we got to talk to those defensive staff at Texas Tech. But knowing that Mike Elko is a defensive-minded guy, I think he is plugged in offensively. I think he is trying to be that CEO-type head coach. Not to say that, but it's no secret, of course, that defense is his specialty, and you would imagine he could have a lot more effect on that side of the field. Whereas Colin Klein, the offense, there's maybe some conversations, some guidance, but it is sort of his show, so to speak. So really valuable to be able to talk to not just coordinators, but especially Colin Klein. Asked him about Terry Bussey and what it was like to get him more in the mix as more of a legitimate receiving threat. I'll play you the entire answer from our exchange on Monday.
Yeah, first of all, just an incredible young man. I mean, top to bottom. I mean, his level of maturity and how he comes to work every day and attacks it and approaches it and studies. And I mean, he's up in the offices extra all the time trying to learn and watch more tape and grow. And that has paid off for him and for us. And obviously he's got a great skill set, and we've known he's always had good ball skills. He's always had great athleticism and speed, but to watch his maturation as a route runner and what Coach Wiggins is working with him on and how he's improved has been really fun to watch.
Certainly has been fun to watch, and I think that's something, especially given the bye week, the reset, let's be honest, Mississippi State and the first game back, I think we'll be able to see that continue to grow as well. Wanted to pull up his stats. I had it on my computer, and then it just disappeared, and so bear with me. I believe here we go, final offensive numbers from Terry Bussey for Texas A&M. Where are we going? Here we go. 3 receptions for 76 yards. So, again, that was tops. The next after that was Noah Thomas, 3 for 65. Ja'Day Walker, 2 for 55, had the 40-yarder that he pulled in. And also Jabri Barber, 3 for 21. Again, those numbers aren't going to pop off the screen to you, but Mike Elko made a point to mention him getting a bigger and bigger role and starting to find his footing as well. And I think Ja'Day well, Ja'Day Walker for sure, but Jabri Barber and Terry Bussey are two guys who their role receiving is going to continue to expand as we work into the second half of the season. It's really exciting. It's interesting. I hate to harp on this point because I bring it up a lot, but if you remember, Terry Bussey during practice, he wasn't here for spring practice, was not an early enrollee. So he comes in, he is basically practicing at cornerback with the DBs. He's got a white jersey, meaning, defensive player. And then again, this is the part I hate to keep harping on. He's number 2. Reuben Owens is number 2 on offense. So you'd only give him that number if you think coming into the year, okay, we're going to probably use him on the defensive side. All that to say, immense credit in the world for him being able to transition. Clearly he's gotten some work at DB. Not sure if he still is, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to keep all the options open available for him. But to get all the work at DB and then fairly late in the game, move over to wide receiver. He was always returning punts and doing that, but that can, go both ways. He was behind the 8 ball in terms of, learning what he needed to learn on the offensive side. I'm sure they had packages for him when they thought he was going to be a defensive player, but for him to start being immersed in the full offensive scheme, I think especially with what we saw this past game in terms of, like I mentioned, down the field and running maybe more advanced quote unquote routes. Coach Colin Klein, he talked about Terry Bussey, how good he is with the ball in his hands. We saw that at Timpson at Class 2A. That's another adjustment he's having to go through between coming up from Class 2A football to FBS football and then eventually SEC football. To do all that, to make the impact he's made, to be able to bounce around. And I do think that it doesn't necessarily speak to his character, but knowing his character, I think you can certainly attribute some of that to it. If you don't know the kid's story, I mean, just look up, I think Bally Sports Southwest did a story about him. Dave Campbell's did a write-up on it. He's been through a lot of personal tragedies in his life, losing his mother, his older sister, and the way he carries himself, you wouldn't know. And to see him, come into Aggie land, keep his head on his shoulders, and also just be he's, instead of coming in as I'm the big 5-star athlete, he's been very, humble. From everything I've been able to tell, he's just hearing the coaches talk as Coach Klein did at the beginning of that. He's put his head down. He's about the work. That is what has allowed him to get to this point to begin with, and hopefully what will continue to help him build up his career and be a dynamic factor within this passing attack, not just moving forward, but this year as well. I think you feel certainly good about Noah Thomas and Cyrus Allen as sort of maybe your 1-2 punch. You've got, Noah with the size on the outside. I think Ja'Day Walker can be in the slot on the outside a little bit. I think he'll have games where he pops off, and then others when, you need him on the field to be a decoy. He demands some sort of attention. And then to have Jabri Barber and Terry Bussey kind of surging and potentially able to take on more and more of a workload, in addition to the way they utilize the tight ends and the running backs and all that. I think Terry Bussey going to be a name to watch as we move ahead toward the second half of the season. He's one of those players I think will continue to improve and get better over the course of the season more than most. Everyone gets better and everyone improves over the season. So just saying that alone doesn't necessarily do it justice. But again, the rate of his progression, given the fact that they had to figure out where he's going to be, and then, okay, let's make some packages for him offensively. Actually, let's just kind of use him as a receiver offensively. And now hopefully slowly starting to, add more and more to his tool belt. Really exciting stuff. And Mike Elko's also, I think, been very. I appreciate how he's handled his situation. He talked about, even when he got here, I think on signing day, like, listen, Terry Bussey, we're really excited to have him, but he's going to be an 18-year-old freshman. Let's let him be a freshman. Let's not put all this like you're a 5-star on his plate right from the jump. Let's let him, like, we trust him. He will live up to, I think, I don't want to say the hype, but he will live up to that ranking in due time. But just like, everyone needs to be patient with him, take a deep breath. Like I said, he's got a lot of adjusting to do, from figuring out what position, switching positions, and learning the offense, learning the defense. And now I think we're starting to see that. So excited to see Terry Bussey. If you haven't already, be sure to check out all the other videos we have on the channel. Yesterday we had a long show yesterday. We talked about the Missouri game. We talked about Connor Wigman coming back, Will Lee dominating the Mizzou receivers. We did some additional talk on some of the other sports on campus, soccer, volleyball, Texas A&M track and field hosting Quincy Wilson, the 16-year-old gold medalist from Team USA. He was here on a visit. I think A&M, I'm not going to go as far as say pole position for him, but I think he'll be a factor. I would imagine A&M is going to be a finalist if he does indeed decide to compete in college. So a lot of exciting stuff going around Aggie land. Be sure to check it out on the All In Aggies YouTube channel. Subscribe to the podcast on Spotify if you haven't already. And be sure to stay tuned for more videos throughout the week. But for now, I'm Ben Peck here on All In Aggies. We will see you later.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.